Due to his unique combination of high fall speed, gravity, and weight, Captain Falcon can be a special case for combos, particularly at low percents. Certain combos are more difficult to perform on him compared to a more middle-of-the-road character like Robin, and many have different percent ranges at which they are true. However, there are some high-reward combos which can only be performed on certain characters, such as Captain Falcon. This video will demonstrate both traditional and special combos on Falcon. These combos will be demonstrated in training mode in Jagia's training mod pack, which you can find a link to in the description. The mod pack does add Rage to training mode, but does not add Staling, so some of these combos may work differently in an actual match due to the effects of Staling. Also, keep in mind that combo windows can be significantly affected by stock aura, which also is not accounted for here. Right off the bat, while up throw up air is true on Falcon, even at 0%, if Falcon DIs in, you'll need to use a backwards short hop to connect the up air. As you can see, these traditional combo routes do work, though you might want to practice them against Captain Falcon specifically to get used to their quirks. However, you might be able to get a bit more out of a grab at low percents if you're willing to practice some alternative combo routes. When Falcon DIs out at low percents, you can get a double hit nair into a true regrab by timing a fast fall between the first and second hits while maintaining forward drift. This can be quite challenging at first, so I would recommend practicing a lot to get this down. Double hit nair to regrab is also true on a few other characters, namely other fast fallers and large bodies. Between nair and regrab, you can usually fit in a down tilt or up tilt. You can sometimes even fit in 2 up tilts, though this increases your opponent's chance to escape. This combo can sometimes be chained into itself twice, though this requires almost a full stage to execute, and doesn't usually work if the opponent is mashing jump rather than air dodge. It's worth noting that, at low percents, if your opponent is mashing air dodge, they can often avoid the second hit of the first nair, but will still get re-grabbed due to the air dodge's landing lag. If this happens, this increases the likelihood that a second double hit nair re-grab cycle will work, with correct execution. The spacing restriction still applies, however. If everything comes together just right, and your opponent doesn't mix up their DI too much, you can get some impressive percent for a 0 aura Lucario. Inward DI can make it much harder to connect a double hit nair, but not impossible. By buffering nair out of a neutral short hop, but drifting back as soon as possible after leaving the ground, it's possible to still connect double hit nair and land a regrab. Do note that this is quite challenging, and even I can't do this consistently yet, so be prepared to put in a fair amount of effort to practice if you want to do this reliably. After the regrab, you can't really chain another cycle, even if they continue to DI in, but you can go for a reverse fair to bear combo. Be aware though that at certain percent ranges you may have to drift slightly back into Falcon after the second up throw in order for fair to connect. You'll want to practice this because it's harder than it looks. There are easier options for combos against inward DI, but they can still be more challenging when compared to other characters. As shown before, you can connect up throw up air at 0 with a backwards short hop, though it's not the most rewarding option available. You can connect a neutral short hop reverse fair at low percents, but you won't be able to connect a double jump bair at these percents because Falcon doesn't go high enough. Instead, you'll need to full hop to fair and immediately bair. This works up to around 7% for both characters, so you can still do this if you connect your first grab out of a down tilt or nair or something. Note that this may require a well-timed fast fall if they continue to DI behind you after the up throw, something the training mod can't currently demonstrate. If they mix up their DI and DI the forward air in, you can alternatively use up air instead of back air for a bit less damage, though it's more reliable at slightly higher percents. If you do this, make sure to drift through and or fast fall immediately after the fair to avoid being hit by a combo breaker up air. You may be tempted to just go for repeated up tilts into an easy regrab, however, this will whiff on outward DI, or an opponent mashing jump, so so you're generally better off going for an aerial combo and at least trying to catch Falcon's landing afterward. That's all for now. This should have covered most of the useful low percent combos you can do out of an up throw on Captain Falcon. Once you get beyond 50% or so, he starts behaving much more normally, and up throw up air becomes your best option as usual. While some of these combos may be too difficult to be worth your time to learn, you can at least glean some insight into your possible options, and maybe put in some style in real matches every once in a while.